Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to show you how to add products to your Shopify store. So on the Shopify dashboard, the first thing you want to do is go to products, then click add product. So for this example, I'm going to create a listing for the LED motion light sensor. So let's call it LED motion light automatic sensor. So I've already gone ahead and created the description for this product. So I'm just going to paste it here. So let's walk through the format as to why it's set up the way it is. So right here you have the one core value proposition for purchasing the product. So because we're selling an LED motion light sensor, the core value proposition is never be left in the dark again. The ultimate LED motion sensor light for instant illumination. And then we followed up with a paragraph demonstrating how it works. So this innovative light automatically turns on when it detects motion, providing bright and energy efficient illumination. No fumbling for switches in the dark. Keep your home well lit and safe. And below that are additional information on benefits, for example, smart motion detection, energy efficient, versatile application, easy installation. Again, just very simple to the point. So to get inspiration on how you should create your description, you can simply just go to Google, type in your product, and then at the end write .myshopify. And then you'll see a bunch of Shopify websites that are currently selling the same product. For example, this one. Now, I'm not saying to copy them completely, you wouldn't want to do that. So what you want to do is go through how they're selling it. Look at their product description and what they're writing about. So for example, they're calling it Bright Beam LED Motion Sensor Cabinet Light. It's usually good to make it an actual name so that people can recognize what they're purchasing and be able to give out recommendations in the future. Hey, I bought the Bright Beam LED motion sensor light. And then you can go on Amazon and look for listings that are also selling the same product, and you can also get inspiration from them as well. For example, this one right here. Just take bits and pieces of what you find to be relevant for your product and then use it on your store. And I also want to show you a new feature that Shopify came out with using AI. So you can create your descriptions pretty easily by going to generate text, typing in the title of your product, click generate. Something as simple as this would also be good enough to use as your description for your website. And you can even change the tone from persuasive to expert. So there's many different ways to come up with descriptions. Another way to come up with product descriptions is by using ChatGPT. Create a product description for, and then type in your product. So this is a perfect example of what you can add for your description. And something I didn't mention was the GIF that I have here. As you can see, it's showing it's in the dark and then in the light. So to add GIFs onto your product description, which would definitely enhance the look and design of your product page, go back to Google, type in your product, then at the end, type in GIFs. So you can click on one of these links here, or you can just go to images. As you can see, they're GIFs. So find one that's relevant to your product, and then to add it into your product description, you want to go to insert image, and then make sure you just copy and drag the GIF here, click it, and click done. And then that GIF will pop up right here, and then you can always change the size. And then below the GIF, I have just additional benefits and features. Really, I only added this just to make this a little bit more visually appealing, because as you know, people get bored very easily, so you want them to be engaged and ready to purchase your product. So next we want to add product images for our listing. And it's really important that you find high quality professional type images for your product. So the best way to find product images is to find the top sellers that are already doing very well with that particular product. For example, on fastmoss.com, under home improvement, this person is ranked number 2 selling the exact same product. So click on his listing and you can kind of just go through his pictures to see what he's listed. So because I plan on selling all 4 of these variations, I can just use this picture. But it's never good practice to just copy someone else's picture. So what you'll want to do is go to Canva and edit it yourself a little bit and then add it onto your website. So now I'm in Canva, and what I did was dragged and dropped all the pictures that I took a screenshot of into Canva. So one important thing that you want to make sure of is that each picture that you have on your website all has the same dimensions. So the format that I'm using is 1080 by 1080 px, as you can see right here, which is also the same dimensions as Instagram. And just make sure it's centered and just rinse and repeat for all the photos. So now we have to download them, go to share, make sure it's JPEG. We want to select all the images, download. So then we want to go back to our website, paste them here, and perfect. So now we have all the images with the same dimensions. It's all even and it looks professional. And then more places to find images is by going on AliExpress, and then go down, go to description. Then as you see, there's other images here that you can also use by taking a screenshot or just by dragging the image over to your desktop. So after you add your product images, you want to add your product pricing. So in general, you want to have a 3 to 5 times markup. So for example, if you buy a product on AliExpress and ship it to the customer and in total it costs you $5, you want to make sure you're pricing that up at least 3 to 5x, so price between $15 and $25. So for example purposes, I'm going to set a price at $19.95 and I'll set the compare at price at $29.95. So if we look at what it means, it's basically displaying a markdown. So when they go on your product listing, they're going to see that the price was $29.95, but now it actually costs $19.95. So here you want to uncheck charge tax on this product because in the beginning you're not charging for tax. And for the cost per item, you can leave all this blank. And then for inventory, you want to make sure it's stocked at de-essers. And we're using de-essers because that's how we're going to be fulfilling all these items through de-essers. And you want to uncheck track quantity because on AliExpress, if the supplier runs out of the items, we can always just choose a different supplier to fulfill our orders. And here we want to add a SKU. Even though it's not very important, we do want to make sure that we have a SKU for each product that we have on our store. So I'll just do B123 and make sure it requires shipping, and you can ignore the weight. So click on variants. So click add options like size or color. And what I really want to use is just size, but I don't see that here. It looks like I see bulb size and nothing else. So I'll just create a custom option called size. And now I'm going to type in the option values and then explain what I did after. So I did small, medium, large, and XL. And then next to each one is the dimensions of the actual product. So it's 4 inches or 10 centimeters and so on. So click done. And we don't need to add a color variation because we are selling only one color and that's white. But if you did want to create another option, you can just go to add another option and then click the different ones there. So below that we have the search engine listing. So this is what they'll see when they go to search for your product on Google. So what we want to do is edit this, and naturally they give a very long description which is based on what we wrote. So we just want to shorten this to about that. And below here we have the URL handle. So if you did want to change this, you can change the very end after products just to make it a little shorter because it does look more cleaner when the handle is shorter. And we don't have to create a URL redirect because we are going to just continue with this handle instead of this one. So we don't even need to do that. Alright, so then after that, we just want to scroll all the way up and make sure we set the listing to active. And make sure for sales channels, you only have the online store enabled. And then for markets, you have all your markets that you had enabled in the back end where we set that up. And then just scroll down, just make sure this is also added to our homepage collections. And now that all that's done, click on save. And now our product listing has been created. And one thing I forgot to do was add the variant images based on the size. So for each time a customer clicks on small, medium, large, or XL, they will see the exact size that they would get. So because the images on AliExpress weren't very good, I'm going to use the same exact image that I saw from the listing on fastmoss.com, which is this one here. So here's where Canva comes in handy. And this is why it might be a good idea to get the pro version because there's a lot of features that you will end up using for your website design. So what I want to do is display each variation separately so that each variation can have its own picture. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So click on the image, click edit, click magic eraser, and then all you want to do is take out everything that's not what you want to add for your picture. Click erase. And I still have some extra stuff down here that I missed, but I can just simply do this and then that. So I'm actually going to edit this further and take out this part here and then add my own to make it look a little bit more clear. So there's many different things within Canva that you can do to enhance the image quality. So go to adjust, and then in this tab you can see there's different options I can choose like sharpness. So I'm going to edit this up and make sure I do the same exact edits for all the other variations, and then I'll come back and then show you the final result. So as you can see, I've created 4 different variations of each size. So this is small, medium, large, XL. So what we want to do now is just go back to Shopify, click on small, then just drag all the images in there. So for small, I'm going to pick this image. Then for medium, click on the medium image, and so on. And now, so when someone clicks a specific variant, that image will show. So now that the product page has been created, we now have to go into de-essers and connect the AliExpress supplier to our store so we can start fulfilling orders. To do that, go to apps, click de-essers, and here we are on de-essers. Let me X this out. We want to go to my products. Then we want to click on import products from Shopify. Click on the product we just created, import, and now our LED motion sensor light has been imported to de-essers. And now we want to link our supplier on AliExpress to de-essers so that we can fulfill orders. Click on mapping, So once you find the supplier that you want to use on AliExpress, all you have to do is go to the top of the URL, click copy, go back into de-essers, and then paste the link right here and click OK. And then go to standard mapping and turn this on. And now we just need to connect the correct variant to the product. So go here and click import supplier. And if it doesn't pop up here, paste the link again, click OK. So I'm only going to be using one color, which is warm white. For small, it's going to be the 10 centimeter option. So we'll click confirm, and then we'll just repeat the same process for each of the variants. And now when we get an order on Shopify, we can easily fulfill the orders through de-essers.